Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the February 2023 Rec Release drop-in session. My name is Amy. I work on the communications team for the Rec Code Manager, and I will be facilitating today's session. I have joining me today Fiona from the release team. So just to go over a couple of bits of housekeeping before we kick off, this session is being recorded, and the recording and slides for this event will be made available on the Rec portal next week. If everybody could please keep their microphones and cameras off unless you're speaking, that would be greatly appreciated. To take your questions today, we're using Slido. If you haven't used this before, you can access the QR code. There's access Slido via the QR code that's currently on screen. If you have a smartphone, you can scan the QR code with your camera app, or you can type in the number on screen into Slido on your web browser. Alternatively, if you're using the desktop app for Teams, you'll be able to see an S at the top of this call, where you can also click and access Slido that way. Please feel free to submit your questions via Slido as they come to you throughout the session. Just to note as well, I've also set up a feedback survey, so please let us know how you found today's session or give us any suggestions for how we run future events. This survey will be made available at the end of the session. So I'm now going to pass over to Fiona to take us through the changes that are going into this release. Thank you, Fiona.
Thanks, Amy. So today I'm going to tell you about 3 changes. 2 of them have been confirmed for the February release. That's R52 and R55. And I'm going to also talk to you about R74, which is still progressing through the change process, but is targeting the February release. Then I'll cover off a bit of information of what support is available to you at implementation and where you can go to obtain that support. And then, as Amy said, we'll go on to a question and answer session where if you have any questions, we will endeavour to answer them for you. So the first change that I want to talk to you about is the R52, which is the GES service definition changes. If we could go on to the next slide, please, Amy. Thank you. So this change has come about from REC version 3. When GES became part of the REC, there were reports that would be coming out from GES created by Exoserve and provided to the relevant recipients of those reports. There was a frequency agreed to those reports. Exoserve are running to those timeframes and sending out those reports to the relevant GES users. However, the GES service definition document doesn't reflect those agreed timings. So what this change is going to do is amend the GES service definition to the frequency of the reports that was agreed at REC version 3 implementation and is also being reflected in operation. As a part of taking this change through the change management process, it was identified that the REC charging statement also outlines the frequency of reports as well. So as a result of that, the REC charging statement will also be updated. The parties that are impacted by the change are listed here. There are a few. And when I say impacted, it means that when you look at the document, the frequency will be updated. However, the reports, if you are in receipt of these reports, the frequency that you receive them will remain the same because that is what was agreed. The implementation of this change will be done on the 24th of February. So this change itself is code only. So that will go live on the 24th. That means when you start business, you will see the updated gas inquiry service definition and the REC charging statement there for you to view. And that's really all I need to tell you on that change. So we're going to move on to the next one, which is R55, the switching operator outage notification lead time. So again, when the service operator joined the REC at REC version 3, there was an agreement put in place on when there is a period of a system outage, so for a scheduled maintenance, the switching operator would provide CES users and switching data service providers a set amount of notice. What was agreed at the time was 8 working days. However, there are 2 documents within the REC that reflect that time frame. One of them is a category 2 document. The other is a category 3, which is the switching operational change management procedures document. The latter says 8 working days, and the category 2 document, which is the switching operator service definition, says 10 working days. During the change management process, we did do a party impact assessment and a consultation to determine what the impacts would be and the preference between 8 and 10 working days. And it was agreed that the best approach would be to change the category 2 document to 8 working days. And that's exactly what we're doing. So we're aligning both documents to say the exact same time frame. In October last year, the switching operator carried out their first scheduled maintenance under the REC. They did provide that 8 working day notification. The communication came out direct from them. The only change you will see moving forward from this change being implemented is that as they will send the communication out direct to CESS users as required, there will also be a notification in the REC weekly bulletin when required. The change for this will just be an amendment to the switching operator service definition, changing it from 10 working days to 8 working days, and that will be implemented on the 24th of February 2023. So you'll be able to view that document in the REC portal from the morning of the 24th, also in EMAR via the digital navigator. And that's all I need to tell you on R55. So we move on to R74. Now, R74 is the change that is still progressing through the change process. It's due to go to the technical expert panel on the 22nd of February to request approval for implementation. We have already done the party impact assessments for this change, so it is progressing to the change proposal plan. So the reason this change is in place, because at REC version 3, when GES came into the REC, meter equipment managers had the ability to have a portfolio view access, but also a community view access in the system. However, the community view was taken away under REC version 3. The reason for that is because the community view wasn't in the gas data access matrix. So the gas data access matrix is being updated to put the community view back in place for meter equipment managers. The data items that will be available were exactly the same data items that were available pre-REC version 3. The gas data access matrix will be published excuse me, on EMAR on the 24th of February. However, there is a technical element that needs to be completed to have the physical community view available in GES. The planning for the release, the technical element of that release will start on the 27th of February, so after the change has been approved, at which point, once that planning has been complete, we will then publish via an updated release plan that will be made available on the REC portal, the technical implementation date. And that is all I need to tell you on R74 as well. So if we have a look at the post-implementation support, so as of the 24th of February, if we could go on to the next slide, please. Thank you. So as of the 24th of February, all the changes that are in scope are code-only changes, where you should be able to see the documentation that you need either via the REC portal or via EMAR and the digital navigator. If you can't find what you're looking for, or it's not as expected, then please either raise a service desk inquiry or send us an email at inquiries@recmanager.co.uk. to let us know, and we can start investigating that immediately for you. Alternatively, if you have an operational account manager, you can reach out to them, and they will help you through that query until it's resolved. If your inquiry is relating to a technical issue, so this is relating to when we have a implementation date for R74, you will then contact ExoServe. However, if on the 24th of February you do have an inquiry relating to the gas data access matrix, if you raise a service desk inquiry, we will then be on board to help you with that. And that's all I wanted to tell you around support. So if we move on to the Q&A, do we have any questions?
We've not had any questions come in as of yet. Oh, I've just seen a couple pop in actually, sorry.
Yeah. So I think we have one in the chat as well.
Okay, so do you want to start with the one in the chat and then we can move on to the Slido questions?
Yeah, I'll just read it out just in case anybody doesn't have access to view the chat. So the question is, does R55 only pertain to the switching operator notifications, or does this cover notifications for outage for the gas and electricity inquiry services? So the answer to that is only to the switching operator notifications. So that is CSS and the 8 working days. So if not, could you please point us to the notification protocols for planned and non-planned outages of the inquiry services? So that's a good question. And that should be, I'm saying should because I'll need to go away and check, but it should be in the electricity inquiry service definition on the REC portal or the digital navigator. If you're looking at it via the REC portal, when you go into REC documents, you can see service specifications. It's in that tab, and that's the same for gas. It's the gas inquiry service definition. But what I want to do is to make sure that that is there. So post this webinar, what I will do is go and check to make sure that it is, and then I will come back to you to confirm if that's okay. And so
Thanks,
then,
Fiona.
no worries.
If you're okay, we'll go through the Slido questions. So starting at the top, we didn't get much notice for the Dacusa-driven BSC change, DCP 383, that's also being released as part of this. We only found out on Friday last week. Is there any reason?
The reason is Dacusa are engaging with us to let us know of the changes. Unfortunately, on this occasion, the release management team were only advised last week as well. So we were advised, we made a quick update to the data specification and published that last Friday to make sure that you had a much notice about the change. So firstly, I want to apologise that it was late notice. My understanding is that although the change is going in the February release, it doesn't actually have to be used in operation until a later date. I haven't been told what that later date is. What we are doing behind the scenes, though, to make sure that this doesn't happen again, is we're working with Dacusa to let them know the timeframes that we need to be able to give you the information in a timely manner. And that should be drawn out from their impact assessments that they have with you when you are going through their change process. So that implementation notice period that you need, that should then feed into when we provide you the notice of the updated data specification.
Thanks, Fiona. I think you may have covered off the next question, but is there any other information that you can provide around DCP 383?
Not really. The change I know has been around with Dacusa for a while. A lot of the information that I have I've taken from their website. It's a change, as I said, that it's going into the February release. So the data specification goes live from the 24th of February. However, my understanding is its effective date for that data item, it is later. I have raised the question with Jacuza to get that information. As soon as I have that, I can share that with you. The only other information I have is from the Jacuza website, which we put into the links in the Change Bulletin and the Rec Weekly Bulletins on Friday. Any additional information I get, I will put that out for you, and that will be done via the weekly bulletins.
Thanks, Fiona. Just a reminder to anyone who may have joined us late today, you can submit your questions via Slido by scanning the QR code that's on the screen or typing in the number on the screen to slido.com in your web browser. So the next question that we have, can this session be held earlier for future releases, just in case there is something we hadn't picked up on? 5 weeks notice isn't enough, maybe 2 or 3 months?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's really good feedback. Thank you. That's helpful. We can definitely do that.
I agree with that. We can definitely bear that one in mind. So next up, why is there not a rec change for DCP 383?
Another good question. I have raised that question myself. I believe that via the crosscode steering group, Jacuza and the REC have been talking about DCP 383, and it's via the crosscode steering group that it was determined that a REC change was not required. I am aware that an organisation, I think it might be a supplier, that came forward and felt that there may be a need for a rec change. So my thoughts on that is, if you feel that that is the case, please do raise a change proposal for it so that we can start looking into that straight away for you. It has been determined that there wasn't a need for one, but if you feel that there is, let us know the reason so that we can just clarify if that has been looked at and determine whether a rec change is definitely required or not.
Thanks, Fiona. So one more question that's just popped in. So where on the rec portal is the DCP 383 publication?
So the DCP 383, there isn't a link on the portal through to the Jacuza website. That will be via either the Rec Weekly Bulletin or the change bulletins that were sent out on Friday. We put a link through to the Jacuza website. But the data specification that holds the Jacuza data item change, that is on the Rec portal. So it's also the link on the portal takes you through to EMAR. So what you can do is, if you go onto your Rec portal, and then if you go into Rec documents, go to the bottom of that list and you'll see Rec release information page. Within that page, you will see the February release, and you'll see data specification pre-release. If you click on that link, that will take you through to the EMAR and the data specification. The data specification at the moment is in an access format. So if you need it via another format, please let me know, because then I can engage with our technical team to make sure that we have it in another format, e.g. Excel document that you can then utilise. Some companies cannot get EMAR docs that are in access. Right, so that answers my question. So yes, we need it in another format. I will take that away and make sure we get that in another format for you.
So the statement at the top regarding the bulletin being published, we do actually publish the bulletins on the portal following their release via email, and I will put that link to where they're located in the portal into the chat for you.
Can I ask, where we've got these non-rec data specification changes, would it be beneficial for you as rec parties for us to put on the rec portal where the rec release information is? Would it be beneficial for us to put a link to the change on either Jacuza's or BSC's website, so all the information's in one place for you? I'm getting a thumbs up. Okay, yes, we can do that for you. Yeah, definitely. Okay, thank you. That's useful information and feedback. So, so I've got yes, please. The web format or Excel would be good. The Access database from EMAR isn't very useful. That's a fair comment. So absolutely, I shall speak with our technical team and request that in an Excel format for you. As soon as I have a date for that, I will publish that date so you know when to expect it.
Thanks, Fiona. We've not had any further questions come in via Slido at this time.
Okay.
Yeah, just a reminder, you can join Slido with the QR code that's on the screen at the moment. Please feel free to submit any questions you may have. I think if we give people a couple more minutes to submit any questions they may have, and if nothing else comes in, I think we might be able to wrap up.
I think what might be worth saying, Amy, as well, is that the video from today's session will be available on the portal from Monday. The slide pack that we've gone through today will be available from today. So it should be hopefully there now. And so the video will be available from Monday. The questions that you've raised today, we'll put that into an FAQs document, which we'll publish on the portal as well. So that will all come under the February release on the rec release information page, and we'll link you to the relevant locations. For example, the video will be on Wiki, but at least you know all your release information's in one place.
Just to add as well, the link to the Bulletin Archive tab on the portal that holds all the downloadable PDF copies of the weekly bulletins and change bulletins, that's now been posted in the meeting chat for this event, so you can access it there.
Brilliant, thank you, Paul. When people are, we leave this call, will people still have access to the chat, or should we put that link into an FAQs document as well?
Yeah, I can pop that in an FAQs document because I believe that people won't have access to the chat once this meeting has ended.
Brilliant, okay.
So nothing else has come through Slido, so I think perhaps we can wrap up for today. So thank you to everybody who has attended. We really appreciate your presence. So just, I mentioned at the start of the session, but I have set up a feedback survey on Slido. So please feel free to let us know how you found today's session or give us any suggestions for how we run future events. And yeah, thank you for joining us. Hope you have a nice afternoon.
Yes, well, thank you for coming. It's been really beneficial for that feedback. It's useful. Thank you.
Thank you. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.